I listen up, man. It's time to discuss about a topic I've been asked a bunch, whether it's privately through one-on-one consultations or with the clients I work with on my coaching programs, or even just in the Discord server. Shout out to the fucking Discord server. You haven't joined up yet, man. That's fraudulent behavior. The link is going to be posted in the pinned comment of this video. But they asked me, all these people ask me essentially this same topic or this same question, which is, why do I feel alone on the spiritual journey? Why do I feel like I don't fit in when I'm on this path? Why do I feel like I'm just an outcast when I'm going about this overall direction in my life? Well, today we're going to be talking about that in depth, breaking down why you feel like that, how to actually counteract it and go about your life in a more holistic way, a more holistic approach, and overall shift your mindset and shift your perspective on this whole idea of being quote unquote alone. Because if you've been tapped into this, come on, man. If you've been tapped into this channel, the main channel, the overall messaging of the brand Fulati Fitness, having a fit mind, a fit body, and a fit soul, you already know that we are elevating above your general genre of surface level self-improvement. We are directed our attention and our focus towards the ultimate path of self-mastery and eventually attain the goal of self-realization. And that isn't something that you see too much when it comes to the overall environment around you, whether that's online or in person. So when you're on this path, when you're actually taking this type of information, you're gonna feel like you don't belong, but in a sense, you are the same person and the same essence that you were before. You're just elevating your level of consciousness. So without further ado, let's break this down more in depth, more in detail, talking about why you feel like this. Why is it you're just a chosen one? If you know me, you know my channel, I don't believe in that bullshit. I don't promote this new age spirituality nonsense of, no, you're a chosen one, this is the path for you, and this is why you don't fit in, because you have so much power, it's because your aura is so magnetic, because you're so quote unquote spiritual. If you've been tapped in this channel, you already know about the video I dropped talking about having a spiritual ego is a real thing. So don't let all this garbage that you see online pollute your own mind and pollute your own perspective on why you feel like this. Don't let it pump up your ego to the point where you're like, oh man, I feel like I don't fit in because I'm not meant for this world. I'm meant for the higher world. Because in reality, this world in general, this physical plane of duality, this materialistic plane of duality is built to lower your vibration. It's built to lower my vibration, your vibration, everybody's vibration, and keep it at a certain level. So when you're on this path, whether you're doing things like what I promote a lot, semen retention, getting to deeper esoteric knowledge, you're doing things like fasting, prayer, getting to your religion more, getting into more philosophies, getting to more ideas that expand your level of consciousness and detach you from just the physical and material. Yes, we're still working out. Yes, we're still getting gains in the gym. Yes, we're still working on our business and our careers, because that's self-mastery, mastering the mind, body, and soul. But the more you get into the spiritual side of things, the more you're going to elevate that level of consciousness and that vibration and that frequency. And when you're elevating that level of consciousness, frequency, and vibration, guess what? There's a threshold most people are living at. And you are too, and you still might be right now when you're watching this video, and I still am to a certain degree. We are all living on a certain threshold that the quote-unquote matrix or the Maya, the illusion, the overall force that governs this plane of existence keeps beings at. And that is what they refer to in the Vedic terms, in the Bhagavad Gita, and the overall yogic traditions as the three lower worlds. And that reflects your three lower chakras: the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus. So let's break down what those entail. So the root is survival, mainly just, okay, get resources, and I'm good to go. I can survive the next day. Back then, it was hunting for animals. It's still hunting for animals. It's still finding shelter in a tree, in a little ditch, holes in the ground. There's a bunch of holes in the ground right now. I don't know what the fuck's there, but you get what I'm saying. It's just finding shelter. It's getting water. It's getting food. Letting that physical vessel of you survive. For us humans, it's going to work, getting money, paying the bills, paying the electricity bills, having water, going to the grocery store, all that good stuff. If you're not getting paid, you are not going to be able to survive. So we've shifted from more barbaric to more like barbaric. Oh man, I might have cooked up a new word. Instead of barbaric, like barbarians, we've become botbaric. We are all bots on this machine right now, trying to keep this whole system running, this cycle of samsara running, this cycle of the illusion running. So that is the root chakra. Raise it up to sacral. Once you get done with the survival, you got that in check. Guess what you want to do and what animals want to do? Reproduce. And most of us out there, if you're watching this, are stuck in this level. Because if you got a phone, you got internet, you got Wi-Fi, you got a tablet, you got a laptop, you got a PC, you most likely aren't in survival mode. Yes, you're still in that rat race, that cycle, but you've got it somewhat figured out. You're not dying out there. You are not starving out there. Because if you were, click off this video and go figure that shit out. Go sell your phone, go sell your laptop. Don't listen to me, man. You got to go figure out that before you try elevating your life. You know what I'm saying? But for us who have been fortunate enough to be blessed with the position where we're not in survival mode all the time, like some people in other third world countries who don't have those opportunities, we are living the sacral world, or the second world, or the second sphere of consciousness, which is reproduction. This is why I promote why semen retention, celibacy, and spiritual practices are necessary to elevate your level of consciousness to the next stages. So when you're always thinking in those terms, like an animal, once they get survival set down, they're gonna find a mate to pass on their offspring and let it go. But we as humans have the beast to us and the divine. If you've tapped into this channel, you might have recalled my video talking about the 3 states of man, talking about all these different aspects of the beast, the man, and the divine man, or the God man, or the Srimad, which is what they refer to as the God man in the Vedic terms as well. So if you haven't watched that video, make sure you go run it up after this. But essentially, we have that beast within us, yet our soul's desires and cravings are to elevate our levels of consciousness and taste of the divine and awaken the kingdom of God that is within us, the heaven that is within us, the nirvana that is within us, the enlightenment that is within us. That is what the soul craves for. So when you start elevating from that path, these 3 lower worlds, the other one is willpower. Let me not forget that, the solar plexus. This is essentially, okay, I got my survival down, I got a mate. Now let's just build up my kingdom, build up my empire, build up my status in this world. I'm gonna just keep rising up the ladder of the economy and all that stuff. So if you're living in those 3 worlds, this is what everything and everyone promotes around you. And I'm not saying these are evil or anything like that. They're all part of the human existence. You got to learn how to use them to your advantage. You got to learn how to use them at the right times. You don't want to be used by them. Let me say that again. You want to use them at the right times and on your own accord. You don't want to be used by them. You don't want your root chakra, that level of consciousness, to take over and dictate your life. You don't want your sacral chakra to take over your consciousness and run your life. You don't want that willpower either to do it. You want to be in control, and when you're in control is that when you tap into the crown, when you tap into your higher faculties. Yet the whole premise of feeling alone in the spiritual path is because you are elevating above that threshold. You are elevating above that line. You are elevating above that barrier that most people are in. It's all consciousness at the end of the day. Everyone is that same consciousness, but on different levels. And the Hermetic philosophies, they refer to it as different degrees. So it's like everything is on the same scale of consciousness. This is consciousness, one scale, but everyone's on different degrees. When you start raising above that, you are still the same level, not the same level of consciousness, but the same consciousness on a different degree. So when you don't understand that, you start elevating your overall frequency, vibration, perspectives, and consciousness in life, you're gonna have higher pursuits. Because like I said, as you rise above these, you're gonna get different pursuits in life: survival, sex, then status. Then what is the next? It's love. You're looking for real love in the heart chakra. Next, express creativity, throat chakra. Next, above that is the third eye, intuition, seeking God. And then crown is you're in the non-dualistic state of mind, which is pure bliss, pure nirvana, pure heaven, pure whatever you want to call it. You're in state of perfection. So the higher you rise up on this, it's not like you detach from the lower world. It's you're using it as building blocks. You don't make the root chakra or the sacral or the willpower the pinnacle of life. You start building up on that, and you're using it as a solid foundation to keep building up to the ultimate goal: self-realization, self-mastery. That's what this channel and what my brand and what this path is all about. So when you go about that and then you're detaching from it, you're not completely detaching from it, but you're elevating above it, and you see everybody else, and you see essentially the world, the system around you promoting all these things. You start peering through the veil. You start seeing past the blinds of the matrix. You start seeing past the illusion, the Maya. And then you start questioning a lot of things in life. Then you start being like, man, was I just dreaming all this time? Was this a fucking big ass dense dream? Am I finally awake? That's what a spiritual awakening feels like. If you haven't watched that video on this channel, make sure you go run it up also. It just feels like you've been on autopilot your entire life, and then when you finally get up, you want to tell everyone about it. You want to find other people that are about it. You want to see other places in the world that are promoting this more. Yet, you notice pretty quickly, you're an anomaly. You're a minority in the sea of majority of people who are quote unquote NPCs that you were to before. Don't ever think that you're better than anyone because you're on this spiritual path. Like I said, you're all that level of consciousness, but just on different degrees. Some people are just still on that degree, and they're choosing to be on that degree for the time being. Maybe they awaken, maybe they don't. I'll be talking about that more later on this channel, as well as a Patreon. Shout out to the Patreon. If you haven't joined up yet, you get access to exclusive videos, full guides, occult lectures, monthly masterminds, and much more. So if you want to join up, help support your boy, and get up on all this game and all this sauce, much more in depth and in detail, go check it out. The link's gonna be posted in the pinned comment of this video. But I'm gonna be breaking down more of why everyone is not quote unquote meant to be on the spiritual path for this lifetime, for this incarnation, for this experience on the cycle of samsara. It's not for everyone. So if you've stumbled upon that, I'm not saying you're a chosen one, but it was due to your karmic debts and just your overall experiences in life bringing you to this. You've awakened yourself to the point where you are searching to become a divine vessel for God. It doesn't match with the frequencies of this plane, not just other people, but this whole plane in general. You start seeing things like, man, like a lot of things don't make sense, but a lot of people don't care because they're in the state, like I said before, in the three lower worlds. They're seeking pleasures, they're seeking survival, and they're seeking status. So what more else is there to life? They think that is the pinnacle of life, like I said before. They don't build up, they don't keep continuing to elevate. Their levels of consciousness are in that mode. That's why you don't feel like, hey man, I can't talk to a lot of people about these things. I can't connect with a lot of people about these things. Yes, I can dim my light and dim my frequency and dim my overall state of consciousness to delve into the quote unquote lower worlds and just connect with people like all my friends and family, this and that. And that's great. But I want to be around people that elevate me. I want to be around knowledge and the environments that continue to raise me up on the spiritual path. Whether that's through religion, whether that's through philosophy, whether that's through content like this, man. That's why you got to tap into the Patreon, get on the monthly masterminds. We do live calls, and you really do connect with people who are on this path. But that's what you're searching for, and you just feel like, man, like, am I just going crazy? Am I just like don't fit in? Am I just like weird? Am I having psychosis? Am I just like overall an idiot? Am I too smart? Am I like, you just start questioning all these things, and then you feel quote unquote alone. But this is a great quote from Lao Tzu, from the Taoist perspective, that says a man who is able to be in solitude or enjoy his own solitude can observe his connection and unity to everything. So when you quote unquote feel alone and you're just not connecting with everybody, you can step back because you've leveled up your consciousness to the point where you are not so attached to this physical being, this physical vessel, this mind. You can transcend that. You can transcend that to the point where you can see your reflection in other people. You can see your consciousness in them. It's the same consciousness, like I said before. You can see it in them, but on just on a different degree. Maybe they're a little bit lower. It's not bad, it's not evil, it's not anything. It's just, it is what it is. But you can view it, and then you start waking up more of that heart chakra, the unity with everything. You start seeing like, oh damn, I'm not going crazy. I'm just becoming more aware, and a lot of people aren't as aware. So I don't feel alone. I'm just kind of identifying myself with this new perspective on life, which is boosting up my ego, when in reality all I could do is view and observe everything for what they are and enjoy it for what they are. If people aren't on the spiritual path, so be it. If people are on the spiritual path around you, so be it. Don't think that you are alone. All these forms and vessels and expressions of the universal source are around you, and you are connected to that source. So how could you not be connected to those things? How could you not be connected to the people around you? How can you not be connected to the environment around you, even though it's not quote unquote spiritual? Yes, it is designed to keep people on this plane of consciousness, but you raise above that. Now you get the third eye, bird's eye view. You can see things for what they truly are with this type of knowledge, with this type of information. Just going about it and thinking that you're alone and thinking that everything is against you or this and that, it's just gonna make you think that it's gonna further entice the idea of separation and duality. When in reality, spirituality, oh come on man, I'm rhyming, is about unifying that sense of duality into one source, one being, one consciousness. So as you go about your life and that spiritual path is getting quote unquote more difficult and you're feeling more alone and you're trying to connect with more people and it seems like you can't, take a step back and realize they're all reflections of you. They're all reflections of that one source of energy. And you can, like I said before, lower your consciousness for the time being to immerse yourself with other people, but don't just be like an idiot and be like, hey man, have you heard about this? Have you heard about this? That's what you feel like when you first get on the spiritual path, whether that's through a psychedelic awakening or traumatic experience or just overall transcendent experience. You're like, hey man, I gotta tell everyone about this. I gotta put everyone on this path. That's not for everyone, like I said before. Enjoy everything for what they are. Let it be, let it flow, and go about life in being more involved with life and less attached to it. I talk about the law of detachment a lot on this channel, on the main channel, on the Patreon, and that is so key and important because if you understand that, your spiritual journey will get amplified. It's like the double XP. It just throws you on the fast track. The less attached you are to life and the more involved you are with it, the better it becomes. Doesn't matter if you're on the spiritual path or you're more on the quote-unquote self-improvement surface level stuff. Attaching yourself to identifications, to things, to the materialistic, to the physical, even to the spiritual is a hindrance to your overall growth. So the less you identify with being alone, with being spiritual, with being only on this path and no one else is, and my environment is this, the more you label and identify things, the more separation it becomes. When in reality, like I said before, spirituality is bringing that connection back to everything. So you're kind of using spirituality inversely and going backwards, even though you think you're becoming more spiritual, because you're making it seem like, oh man, I feel so alone. When in reality, the more spiritually awakened you become, the more not social you become. I'm not trying to make it seem like you become more social and stuff like that, but the more unity you see in everything and everyone. Yes, you might become more social, but you become more, how can I phrase this? You can become more accepting of your own solitude, because you understand your own solitude is not being quote unquote alone. It's being immersed in what the Taoists say, the Tao, or the universe, or the source, or God. That solitude is allowing you to experience it. It's not that chatter in the mind. This is why we meditate. All that chatter in the mind is just further driving up the ego's power over you, the ego's ability to take over your consciousness. And that more it does, the more separation it causes. The more separation it causes, that's why you feel alone. It's not because you're getting on the spiritual path and you're becoming crazy. It's not because of that. It's not because the matrix is out there to get you, and it's not because you're a chosen one and that you're one of the elect few that become spiritually awakened on this timeline. That's not it. It's the ego trying to battle against that that ability to just let go, which comes with spirituality. So the more it battles against it, the more it trying to kind of like curls up, like tries to fight back. And the more it tries to fight back, the more that sense of separation comes into play. So how do you really combat that? Well, like I said before, take a step back, really get deep into your meditation, really get deep into your pranayamas, really get deeper into your prayers, all the things that I cover on the private Patreon community that you can tap into if you want to join and become a member. Get deeper and deeper into that, but most importantly, the most important aspect to not feel quote unquote alone is to just be able to flow with life. Detach from it. Detach, like I said, don't become so attached to it, become more involved with it. Put yourself in positions where, even though it might not be quote unquote spiritual of you to do it, just put yourself in those positions. Because everything you've thought about being on spiritual or religious or philosophical are all perceptions from other people, whether it's through me, whether it's through books, whether that's through other philosophies, religions, churches, mosques, temples, all this stuff. They're all from other perspectives, but you kind of have to paint your own picture. Still go back to the ancient knowledge and ancient wisdom. Always. Esoteric knowledge is elite. This new age stuff kind of just warps it and just bends it and stuff like that to make it whatever it seems. But what I'm saying for you to is take the bits and pieces, but don't box yourself into a thing of, okay, I have to do this because I'm on the spiritual path, and now I'm blocking myself off to a bunch of experiences that now I feel alone. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, there's certain things you quote unquote don't want to do because they don't help elevate your life. They kind of degenerate you. Yes, that's one thing. But when you get quote unquote too strict and too meticulous with spirituality, especially spirituality, which is something that's so expansive and free and unable to put into a box. Like when you go work out, yes, you want to have a dialed in diet, you want to have a dialed in workout routine, you want to log all your workouts, you want to see your progress. It's very analytical, it's very masculine, it's very solar powered. But spirituality is where you're tapping into more of the lunar, the feminine, the flow, the intuition of life, all that stuff, man. So I know most of you guys out there are dudes, are men, so we struggle with that. I struggle with that a lot. Like my mind is geared on that masculine mode all the time. Of like, I gotta have things like planned out, this, that, like, you know what I mean? But the more you're on the spiritual path, the more you're able to let go of that for the situations that you put yourself in, and let the flow of the universe take you as you must. And when you do that, you feel the essence of God, you feel the essence of the universe, you feel the essence of whatever it is that you believe in, that pushes this whole world around, that makes the sun go up, sun go down. And you feel that walking with you. You've what I've talked about before on this channel, the Patreon main channel, you're yoking yourself to God. You've yoked yourself to that unity, to the divine. And you never can feel alone when you do that. When you let life, when you let God guide you. Yes, You don't just sit there and meditate and God's going to bring you about abundance to your life. It's not about that. God's going to speak to you. The more you elevate above that threshold, like I said, you get into the intuition, the third eye center, that plane of consciousness, the more you'll see these synchronicities come into your life, the more you'll feel that divine union, the more you'll hear that inner voice, that inner guru, that inner higher self guiding you. And when it guides you, you cannot feel alone. Like I'm telling you right now, you're gonna feel more at home with that guiding you and no one else around you than you would being surrounded by hundreds of people. Like, you probably have a close group of friends or a couple really, really, really good friends that you damn near feel like they're family. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. It's like your own, the highest version of you that you're aspiring to become, that your soul craves to become, that the timelines are trying to meet up together to where it becomes you in the present moment. That dude or that person or that entity or that essence is walking step by step with you. You can call that Jesus, you can call that Christ, you can call that Krishna, you can call that Allah, you can call that God, you can call it whatever you want. But the more you raise up your level of consciousness, the more you understand that some things are trying to pull me back down through that threshold. And now I feel like in a separation from that essence, that source. The more I'm able to actually see and feel and hear the divine walking presence with me. So that is probably the most important thing, and the most important aspect is you'll feel that essence with you, you'll notice it with you, and when it happens, you see it not only with you, but you see it in everybody else. You see it in everything else. Even things are good or bad, you don't label it, you don't identify it, you start feeling it and you start seeing it, and then life just becomes more living. It becomes more bright, it becomes shineful, it becomes just very peaceful in a sense where you're still working at things, you're still grinding at things, you're still going through your ups, you're still going through your downs, but you don't ever feel alone. You don't feel like you've been outcast, you don't feel abandoned. You feel like you are exactly where you're meant to be for the time being, and you're not trying to fight against it. Yes, you're trying to progress towards other paths in life. Just keep always improving, evolving. Evolution is a solution. Evolution is the point of this whole experience on life, but you don't feel like you're less. You don't feel that sense of lack. You don't feel that sense of loneliness. And this is something that I had to realize over time, and I'm trying to give you all the sauce and information that you guys can take, and hopefully it expedites your own growth to get to that point quicker, smoother, and in a seamless manner. You're doing it effectively and efficiently because you're getting this knowledge firsthand from me as a person that's maybe one step ahead of you, or maybe you're at the same position in life, but maybe I have a little bit more experience on this area. Maybe you have more experience on that area. We're just swapping info, man. We're just swapping info, and hopefully this information can really marinate in your mind that this whole concept of being more alone on the spiritual path is just an illusion by the ego, by that spiritual ego that comes into play when you first get on the spiritual path. Once you've kind of evolved and shaped and molded your own consciousness after your awakening experience, guess what? It becomes more of your ally than an enemy. Let me say that again. Your ego, once you've awakened, you have the awakening experience, after you've molded it more, you've shaped it more, it becomes more of an ally than an enemy. So when it becomes an ally, you don't feel alone. You don't feel like that dread of, oh man, like I can't connect with anyone, I can't do this, because that word I, me, like all that separation, less spirituality, less spiritual insights, less overall growth on the spiritual path. Forget the I, forget about the me. There is no I feel lonely, me feel lonely, I'm sad, this, that. It's just energy, it's just conscious going from different degrees on the scale, different levels on the scale. You've been blessed enough to be able to unlock that barrier and get to the next level of the scale. So use it properly. Don't try to shift it into the point where your ego takes back control and then slides that scale back to where you were before. Keep that evolution going, keep that progress going. And the more you keep that progress going is by letting go more. Letting go and let that flow run through your life more. Like I've said on this channel, spirituality, like things that you think of, like, okay, with my business, with my career, with my gym progress, with my social skills, with my relationship skills, I gotta put in more work to see more results. More is better. That's the whole Western world, the modern world. More is better. When in reality, like I've said here, spirituality, less most of the time is better. Letting go is better than, I gotta do this, I gotta read this book, I gotta do that, I gotta watch this podcast, I gotta go watch this guy's video, I gotta go, like, less is better. The less is better because the ego lets go. And the spiritual path is about surrendering to the flow of the universe, surrendering to your divinely ordained path in life. It's not about being lazy, it's not about just meditating in a cave. You can still be quote unquote spiritual as a CEO. You can be still quote unquote spiritual and enlightened and awakened as a president of the United States. You can do all those things. But when you realize that this is just a divine vessel for God to act out his will through the universe, through your actions, by giving you the insights and information through intuition, and giving you the health, the vitality, vigor, and energy to get God and get it done, you'll understand that, hey man, not only does free will kind of sound wishy-washy, but I wanna accomplish my fate to the best ability. And when I accomplish my fate to the best ability, when I'm on that path, I don't feel alone. And guess what? When I'm doing that and I don't feel alone, I will attract whatever my tribe, whatever my group of people that are all meant to encounter along this path and help one another grow and develop on the spiritual journey. So if you dig what I'm saying, you pick it up what I'm putting down, man, let this whole idea of, oh, I feel alone, this and that, I can't connect with people, I feel like I'm crazy on the spiritual path, this and that, don't let that dissuade you. That is the ego being more of an enemy than an ally to you. The ego will never go away until you really transcend that, and that's real advanced stuff. So instead of trying to run away from it, make it your ally rather than your enemy. Make it a partner in crime to you rather than the person calling all the shots. There's a good quote that I refer to a lot. The mind can either be a beautiful servant or a horrible master. It's from Osho, another realized master who understood this principle and understood that how this idea of being alone, this and that, is an illusion, it's nonsense. Keep on this path, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Surround yourself to the best of your abilities with people who you can conversate about these things, because it's great. It also exposes you to different information, different experiences, and different forms of consciousness that you're all connected to, that you're still connected to. But if that isn't the case for the time being, guess what? You always have the inner guru, the inner self, the divine source within you that you can awaken and have walk with you at any time you want, when your consciousness is consciously chosen to shift into that mode. Because you got it. You got all the answers within you. You got everything you need within you. I'm just trying to give you all the tools, man. I'm just really out here in the field, in the flesh, trying to give you all the tools. Trying to give you all the blueprint that's helping me shift and shift and tune my own frequency, shift and tune my own mechanisms of my mind, body, and soul, like a goddamn mechanic. Like I'm in the auto shop. Ali Fuladi in the auto shop, man. Come on, man. This is Los Santos Customs. Shout out to GTA. That's what I'm trying to dish out to you guys. The tools to help you on this path. I'm not telling you what to do, how to do it, because we all have different paths that's going to end up leading up to the same position and that same pinnacle point of the mountain, which is self-mastery and self-realization. So if you're picking up what I'm putting down, man, That's all you need to hear, because I'm really out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping out that game so you guys can make these gains. I'm out here. Peace.